unlocks the raw destructive power of a legendary Super Saiyan. Quitella, the mouse god of destruction from Universe 4, plots against Beerus, and Frieza, the intergalactic overlord and duke of douchebaggery, returns in this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super! It's official, Saiyans and Saiyanettes, Kale is essentially the female Broly of the series. This is something which has been teased for months, shown in previews, videos, magazine articles, but it officially comes to light in this week's episode when Kale is pushed to her very limits and transforms into a legendary Super Saiyan. She even has the green aura, the green ki attacks, and even those creepy white eyes. Not to mention those giant glistening muscles that would make frickin' Arnold Schwarzenegger blush. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. If anybody's ever actually seen my reviews of the Broly Dragon Ball Z films, you'll know that I'm not really a big fan of his character. To me, Broly was always just a big, loud brute. That's pretty much all there was to his character. He was annoyed with someone, he'd try to kill them. And in many senses, Kale is quite similar. Her actual personality is damn near identical to Broly's, actually. She's very timid and soft-spoken, but when she is pushed beyond the brink, she transforms into a giant monster of pure destruction. She tries to go into a regular Super Saiyan transformation in this episode, but she can't pull it off. It's not until Caulifla actually pushes Kabe to start making fun of her that she finally decides to transform into her legendary Super Saiyan form, where, like in the opening of the show, she enlarges into this giant destructive Saiyan beast. Just like Broly, she has like this yellowish green aura around her, her eyes go completely white, and she even gets to use those giant green ki blasts, which are ridiculously destructive, by the way, and she happens to go freaking hardcore against Kabe in this episode, sending him flying across this massive landscape, creating giant craters in the sides of mountains, and it isn't until Caulifla decides to step in and stop her that she goes back to normal. It's also worth noting that Caulifla seems to also activate Super Saiyan 2, thanks to the fact that her hair gets pointier, and you get to see that distinctive lightning all around her body. The Saiyans from Universe 6, man, they are breaking all sorts of rules. Speaking of rule breaking, let's just go ahead and talk about Frieza. Frieza is officially coming back into the series, and like most everyone else, everyone agrees that it's a really bad idea, except for Goku. He feels that Frieza really is the only option for being able to take on the strong opponents in the Tournament of Power, and he's going to use Fortune Teller Baba's abilities to bring him back for 24 hours, which will be just enough time to get him in, win the tournament, and send his ass right back to hell. The thing is, though, when Goku goes down into hell and actually meets with Frieza, Frieza actually strong-arms Goku into telling him that the only way that he's going to get involved in the tournament is that when it's all done, they use the Dragon Balls to wish him back to life. This is a terrible idea. Frieza is without a doubt the most evil being in the entire universe. There are things that are like pure evil, like Kid Buu, or even things that are incredibly destructive, like the Gods of Destruction. But Frieza is just the epitome of just pure, unmitigated, loving to be a bad guy evil. And you know he has some sort of other trick up his sleeve despite the fact that he doesn't even have any sleeves. He really wants to take himself to the next level, and that's actually how he tricks Goku, by tempting him with the fact that you may not have actually seen all of what Frieza is capable of. There could very well be a form beyond Golden Frieza, which I think, yes, would be ridiculous, but man, it would be really cool to see. Also, there's just something really strange about seeing Goku and Frieza in a really casual situation with just them talking. I honestly thought that there was going to be a battle between these two characters in this episode, but it never really happened. It was basically just Goku telling him, look, if you don't join this tournament, everything's going to be destroyed, and that's just the way it's going to be. Frieza is using this as an excuse to somehow come back, and I have a feeling it's probably not going to work for him, and he's going to end up going back into the pits of hell. Frieza looks like he is going to be coming into the show again. It looks like he might actually be a permanent member unless they decide to just mess with us a little bit more. I mean, the end of this episode states that there is only an hour and a half until the tournament. An hour and a half! Now, we do have to remember, this is Dragon Ball. Time in Dragon Ball goes by at like a snail's pace. They can turn 5 minutes and turn it into 20 episodes if they want to. And there's a whole other plot that's getting ready to start in this episode, which all involves the God of Destruction, Quitella, who's that little yellow mouse god of destruction who's supposedly incredibly powerful. They even hint at the fact that he might be that one god of destruction who's more powerful than Beerus himself. Yes, Beerus is very, very ashamed of the fact that there is someone out there who's a lot stronger than he is. He says that he actually lost in a arm wrestling tournament, but I think there's something a little bit more here that we don't know. And if it is Quitella, that's perfect. You can already see sort of the dynamic between these two characters, with Beerus being a cat and Quitella being a mouse. There's definitely a little bit of friction between these guys. What's most interesting about Quitella, however, is that he seems to be actually plotting against Beerus. He actually sends this one alien spy to Universe 7 who learns that they're going to go into hell and try to resurrect Frieza, and Quitella is going to somehow use this to his advantage to take down Beerus. So he's a pretty underhanded god of destruction, and he's always sort of come across that way, that frickin' cheese-eating bastard. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super? It was a pretty okay episode, nothing too groundbreaking here. The fact that Frieza's returning, I think, is still going to be one of the most contentious things about this episode. I know that most people are not excited about Frieza returning. A lot of people are just sick of Frieza, considering that he's probably the most consistent villain from the entire series. I, on the other hand, can't get enough of this guy. I love Frieza. He's one of my favorite villains of all time. He's still my favorite Dragon Ball villain, and to see him return and actually act as like a comrade to Goku and his friends, I think is going to lead to a lot of funny and really awesome and intense moments. It is going to be really weird, though, to actually have to see, like, a restrained version of Frieza, because he learns that he can't kill people in this tournament, so he's really going to have to hold back his power a little bit more. Not to mention, him actually teaming up with some of these characters is strange, considering that he has personally killed 2 of them himself. That's another thing. It's like, if I were Vegeta, I would just not allow this at all. Frieza has caused them way too much grief. He's killed their entire race. He has committed all of these terrible acts. And yet Goku is always willing to just look the other way, because he knows that they're in this, like, desperate place, and they have to have a really powerful fighter. And considering how strong Golden Frieza is, it honestly doesn't make sense why they would choose him. It's just a really bad way they're going about doing this. And yeah, Fortune Teller Baba does have the ability to bring someone back for 24 hours, so that is going to work. They don't have to waste the Dragon Balls on that. I'm just waiting to see if Goku is going to try and, like, screw over Frieza by not actually wishing him back and just sort of using his strength for this tournament, which that could be bad too. That could just fuel Frieza's rage even more and push him to even greater heights, which, like I said, the potential to see Frieza actually go beyond, I think, is something that would be even cooler. And then there's the thing that everyone's going to be talking about in this week's episode, and that's the formal introduction of legendary Super Saiyan Kale. It's not surprising, because we've just been seeing the imagery of this for months. You were just sort of waiting for the moment for that to happen, and it definitely lived up to the hype. She really is female Broly in pretty much every single way possible. I will say, it is kind of boring, though, and I know I'm going to catch some flack for this, that, like, most of the team from Universe 6 is going to consist of Saiyans. Like, I know that Hit's going to be on the team, and Frost is going to be there as well, but do we really need 3 Super Saiyans to actually be on this team? I mean, then again, you're also going to have a couple of Saiyans in Universe 7 as well, with Goku, Vegeta, and even Gohan joining, so really, maybe that's just me nitpicking at this point. And plus, we haven't even really seen all of the fighters that are going to be from that universe. I just hope they have a couple of surprises for us, because that's what I'm most interested in seeing, is all this new stuff. And while Kale is a new character, and she does have a transformation that's technically new, it's all based on an existing character that's been very popular for a very long time. And who knows, this could open up a lot of doors in the future. I mean, I think it would honestly be kind of cool if they decided to bring Broly back. Maybe they could do another movie where Broly returns, he meets Kale, and they have this weird, freaky, giant, muscly relationship, which I think would be really damn funny. Maybe just seeing the 2 characters fight would be pretty cool. And I can't wait to learn a little bit more about why she's so special and why she has the ability to become a legendary Super Saiyan, which is a concept which only exists in the movies. It's something that's never been brought into the actual series before. To my knowledge, almost everyone loves Broly. Honestly, he's one of my least favorite villains of the series, but now that we got Broly, who's going to be acting as a hero, I think maybe it will be pretty cool. It's just, we need to spend more time with these characters, and there's very little time for that, considering the tournament is just around the corner. Honestly, though, I'm most interested in the story that's going on with Quitella. I really want to see, like, how he's actually going to try and take down Beerus, what sort of plan he's going to come up with, and he needs to hurry, because again, like I said, there's, like, no time. The tournament is literally about to freaking begin, so there's actually a lot of really exciting developments going on here, and we're just So close to this tournament, guys. I am so freaking psyched for this one. I cannot wait to see how it's going to go down. There's still, like, tons of fighters that we haven't even seen yet. The preview for the next episode shows that we're going to probably see some more. A lot of them are actually shown in shadow. There's this whole Frieza thing, which could end up going with Frieza joining the team, or they're just fucking with us and they're going to bring Majin Buu back. I really cannot wait to see what's going to happen here, and I'm just excited as a Dragon Ball fan. That being said, I don't think this episode was perfect, and a lot of that, of course, had to do with the animation and the artwork. This was kind of a sloppy-looking episode of Dragon Ball Super, which unfortunately is the par for the course when it comes to these slower episodes. There were certainly some good-looking moments in the battle with Kale fighting against Kabe and Caulifla. Did look pretty cool, but it's nothing that you haven't really seen before. And there's always just a couple of moments where things just look a little too disproportionate, or there's not enough detail, especially in the scenes when they pull away from the characters too much. It seems like everything looks really good when you're up close, but the more you pull away, you just end up losing a lot. I mean, you could say the same thing for the original Dragon Ball series and even for Dragon Ball Z. There were some pretty fugly-looking episodes in that series too, but I just really wish they would put a little more gusto into this brand new series. Maybe they're just saving all of their energy for the Tournament of Power. We can only hope so, because the initial tournament, the little preliminaries they had when they were going up against the Trio de Dangers, all that stuff looked really good. So I imagine that they're going to bring all of that energy into the Tournament of Power. We can only really hope at this point. That being said, this was still a really entertaining episode of Dragon Ball Super that I really digged, and it's something that I think all fans need to check out. So I'm dropping a 4 on this one. It's a 4 out of 5 for me, but I want to hear from you guys. Make sure to tell me what you thought about this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super in the comment section below. Are you excited about Kale transforming into a female version of Broly? Are you excited for the return of Frieza? Are you disappointed by his actual appearance? And what is Quintilla's plan to stop Beerus? And what do you hope to see from the Tournament of Power? Thank you guys for watching this review. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for all things Dragon Ball Super related. Make sure to leave me a comment telling me what you thought about the episode. If there's anything you want to talk about with me, I'm always down for a good conversation. And of course, if you like this video, hit a big old key blast right down to the like button. But if you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay dandy, baby.